Hello and welcome back to my channel, Rover Turbo. In this video we're going to be working on this 2013 Ford Focus. We're going to be basically taking the sump off and checking the oil pickup. Explain why in a second. So it's got the 1.6 basically DV6 engine, which you get in a lot of Fiestas, Focuses, Peugeots. This is basically the same engine they use. The bottom end should be the same. A lot of the Peugeots are 16 valves. This is an 8 valve, but the bottom end should be the same. So this is a specific how-to on this car, but it may be applicable to others. So the problem we've got with this is, I'll show you. Right, so the problem we've got with this car is the oil light is on at idle. Now the car's stone cold at the moment, so the oil light does go out when you start it. Okay, but it does, the oil light does go on. It must be when it warms up a little bit the oil light comes on, but it's not on at the moment. So oil light is on, it comes on idle. When you bring the revs up a little bit, the oil light goes out, and then when you drop the revs back down again, the oil light comes back on again. Now I've checked the diagnostics and there's nothing in the diagnostics that shows you an oil pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack it up, get it on axle stands. I'm going to take the sump off and I'm going to clean the oil pickup, change the oil and filter and put it back together. So basically this is just a little bit of a how-to on how to remove the sump on one of these engines slash cars. I've had a look on YouTube. It doesn't really seem to be a definitive how-to. What you need to remove, what you don't need to remove. Is the exhaust in the way? So this is basically just a really easy how to get it off. So let's get it up in the air, get the under tray off if it has one, and then we'll have a look at what we need to remove to get the sump off. First thing we need to do is to remove the oil filter to allow all the dirty oil that's held in the filter to get down into the sump when we drain it out. So you've got these two screws here, or Jubilee clips, and then this just comes out. Because the oil filter is down here. Right, so it's a 27mm, and I've got this ratchet here that goes at an angle, so it's quite easy to undo. So we'll take this filter out. So that's the oil filter out. It smells nasty, and there's a bit missing, which is a bit worrying. It could be that this filter's blocked, to be honest with you, but obviously we've got a problem with oil pressure. We've got to go through the stages and the steps. So I'm also going to check inside the oil filter, make sure there's nothing amiss in there. Right, so underneath the car we've got this under tray, and there is various T30. I think they're just T30. We've got some bolts along here which are smaller. I don't think we need to remove this. So I'm going to undo all the bolts, take the cover off. Okay, so you do have to at least remove or undo a few screws in this flap, because there are some bolts behind it. And then we've got the sump. Sump bolts are 21mm. So obviously we need to get I'm not going to do this one-handed because I'm going to make a mess. Okay, so that's the oil draining. I've just noticed something else as well. I've bought this car sight unseen, so one of many problems. So I'm going to let that oil drain, and then we've got what looks like 8mm. Okay, so while the oil's draining, it looks like there's a load of 8mm bolts all the way around. Now I wasn't 100% sure whether you'd have to remove the exhaust to get the sump off, but it looks like it should come down and out without removing the exhaust. I need to remove or do something with the DPF anyway, because I believe it's blocked, so I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but that's a story for another day. So I'm going to start undoing some of these bolts, probably put the sump plug back in so I can get this out of the way, otherwise it's just going to be dripping everywhere, and I'll just get those bolts removed. It's going to be siliconed on, so you're going to have to tease it with either a sharp scraper or an old screwdriver or something, just to break that seal. Sometimes they come off easy, sometimes they don't. Right, so I've been taking out all the 8mm bolts. There are 2 semi-awkward ones, or there one semi-awkward one which is quite close to the exhaust, but there's one here which is directly above the exhaust and one here which is directly above the exhaust. You can't get a ratchet on, so you have to use an 8mm ratchet spanner or spanner and just take a long time, just to, because you can't swing it. This one's slightly easier, but it isn't. And then there's 2 stud ones here, which I guess are a locator, which you will need a deep 8mm. So I've just literally got to undo these 2, because there's one on each corner, one on this side, and there's one on this side. So you've got these 2 studs here, there's one there, and there's one on the other side, which you need a long 10mm, a deep 10mm socket to be able to, so they're all 8mm, but this is 2 which are 10mm on studs. So literally now all I've got to do is just tease this off with a scraper, a screwdriver, whatever I need to do. Right, so I've managed to get it down this far, literally just going in with what I use as a sort of like a scraper first, and then sort of use a thin chisel or broken screwdriver, and literally just, and the silicone will break. So I've literally just got to get it off from that end there. I'm hoping this is going to come out. I might have to take that stud out on that end. In fact, I probably will need to do that. So what I'll probably do is put a nut back on there, just loosely, take that stud out, and hopefully then it should slide out. Right, that was an E5 internal Torx, or whatever you call it, 1/4 inch. The stud doesn't actually come out, it stays in the sump, it doesn't actually come out. Hopefully is the pickup blocked? Oh, it don't look great, does it? Right, so it does look like there is a little bit of blockage in there, but not horrendous, but probably enough to explain why there was some oil pressure but not at idle, and why it was cold, because obviously the oil's thicker. So I'm going to take the pickup off. We've got 2 25mm torque bolts there, and one 25mm torque bolt back there, and that should remove, I believe, that should remove the pickup, and then we can actually give that a proper. And that's basically it. So obviously there'll be a rubber in there which will seal against there. Right, so I've taken the pickup off, as you can see. I found this was sort of welded itself. I've no idea what that is inside the pickup. You've got to remember that this strainer is the first line of defense against crap getting into the oil, pumping into the engine. So yes, it won't block fine particles, but it will block large particles, and they generally, if there's anything that happens inside the engine, it falls down the oil drain ways down into the sump. It doesn't go through the bearings unless it's the bearing itself which creates the problem. So there's a problem with the oil filter or something else inside the engine, it generally falls down inside the engine into the sump, and then it won't get picked up because it can't. So I have actually, believe it or not, cleaned that a little bit with some brake clean and a brush and a pick. So that's pretty bad. Ideally, I'd like to put another sump on it, another pickup on it, but I don't really want to leave it like that. I just want to get it done now. So we'll clean that up, and we'll hopefully can get that clean. I can't get this clean. This is sort of melted solid bits of whatever it is, and it won't come off. I can't get that clean. I've tried with brake clean, other detergents and stuff like that. So what I've decided to do is I've bought a replacement one of these. I got it off of Amazon, £15, and it'll be here tomorrow. So rather than muck about with that, you're never going to get that completely clean all the way around inside there. This doesn't come off, and I'll just replace the pickup completely. And then obviously I've got a new oil filter. I've got to put a new oil filter on, and obviously clean the silicone up, and then new silicone, clean out the sump, get the sump all spotless, and then obviously bolt the new sump up with the new pickup. I've got some oil to put in, and then hopefully that will solve the problem. Pickup's arrived from Amazon. It looks like it's the same part, but it comes with one bolt and these two bolts here. So I'm not quite sure, because these just don't come out. I'm assuming if I've got a pair of pliers on them, I'll pull them out. And there's obviously a bolt here. So I mean, it's a different length. So I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm supposed to do with this one bolt when there's three of them. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get these bolts out of here, and obviously put them in here, and then obviously fit the pickup. I've already cleaned the sump, I've already cleaned the bottom of the engine, so I literally just need to give it a wipe over with some brake clean, apply some sealant on the bottom of the engine, and obviously put the sump back on again. So I'll cut back in a minute. I knocked these bolts out with a hammer. I literally just rested the pickup on there and then just tapped them, and they fell out, but they will not go into this. They don't fit, the holes are the wrong size. So all I've done is found some bolts that are roughly the same height for that, three of those. So that's the sump back on, obviously siliconed, bolted back up. Obviously these two annoying bolts here, you just have to do a bit at a time. It takes longer to do those two bolts up than it does the rest of it. So literally just go around, hand tight, just go round and round and round, just tweak it very, very lightly, because if you tighten one up, you go around and they'll become slightly loose again. Go all the way around, tighten them up. I'm going to give this an hour, 2 hours for the silicone to go off, and then I'm going to fill it up with oil, and then hopefully that has solved the problem. Basically all back together. I've got oil in it now, so literally we just need to start it up. So yeah, all light's gone straight out. Just need to warm it up a little bit, let it run for a little bit, and then we'll see. Hopefully the light doesn't come back on. Right, so I've had it running for, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, something like that. It's starting to warm up, so that's basically that fixed. Right, so there you go. That's how to replace or remove and replace the sump on a Focus 1.6 TDCi. Also the pickup, if it's blocked, and how to put it back on again. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got this far, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more content. Cheers.